Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today we're going to be talking about the next generation of gaming and what this can potentially mean for the Battlefield series. Now, what I'm talking about is the Xbox One. The reveal was yesterday, and there's some pretty exciting things about it. The hardware's gotten an upgrade. It's very capable now of supporting higher demanding games, which is great for Battlefield because Battlefield has always pushed the hardware limits, and it's something that the consoles have had to cut back on a lot of features in order to get the game running on the older generation consoles. So this new influx of brand new hardware and technology is going to be great for this series. Probably the biggest improvement that the Battlefield series is going to see on consoles is the ability to play with more than 24 players in multiplayer game modes. And even though I play on PC, so I don't have that restriction, it is something that I feel really bad for the console players, and also when I talk and converse with console players, because I know most of the Battlefield community actually plays on consoles, it's hard to sort of talk about certain battle moments or certain game modes that don't really make it across the PC and console gap. You know, 64-player Caspian Border is a game mode that I'm very fond of, and a lot of PC players probably like a lot. It's just something that unfortunately can't be experienced on consoles, and I can't wait for that wall to be torn down. Another really interesting aspect of the next-gen consoles are the new controllers. Now, although the controllers don't look revolutionary necessarily in terms of their design, the subtle changes that are being made to them can actually make a pretty big difference in FPS control. Now, if you think about it, the Xbox, the original Xbox and PlayStation 2 were some of the first consoles to really take advantage of the dual analog stick controls for first-person shooters. Then the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 had some time to sort of refine the controller design and get them a little bit more precise and a little bit more workable for first-person shooters. Many improvements were made, and through the years, since the Xbox 360 and other consoles have lived for such a long time, companies have come out with lots of custom controllers and controller mods to help players better control first-person shooters. And I think from these controller mods, Microsoft has learned, and the new controller looks like the analog sticks and everything are going to be a bit easier to control. It just looks a little bit sleeker, better laid out, and I'm looking forward to seeing if that actually does improve the console precision and gameplay. A huge part of the Xbox One reveal was talking about the new motion capture and voice commands. And I gotta say, I was actually pretty impressed by these aspects of the Xbox because it is clearly far ahead of anything else in the arena in terms of just extreme accurate motion control with the new Advanced Connect, and the voice commands also allowing you to perform certain tasks that you would normally need a remote control to do. Now, they demonstrated all this stuff usually with media stuff like switching between games, movies, TV, changing channels, all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't mean that we couldn't integrate some of these aspects into games. And I know DICE has already said that they're going to try and avoid gimmicky aspects with the Battlefield series, but that's not to say that voice commands and or hand gestures couldn't serve a certain function, maybe even head gestures. It's hard to say, but there's always new ways of integrating controls, because although a controller seems to make pretty good use of its space, there's always extra commands and whatnot that would be nice to have accessible, readily accessible in any video game. Being able to take advantage of voice and or motion controls would be really cool, and I think the first-person shooter that really figures out a way to integrate motion control and or voice control into a competitive first-person shooter is going to really sort of take the market and redefine the genre. One thing I've always wondered about is independent head movement from gun movement in first-person shooters, which is something that would reflect real-life mobility and perception of your environment. Say you're sprinting along a road, you hear a sound to your left. Well, rather than stopping sprinting and turning your body to look at that, you can still continue your sprint forward and just turn your head to look to the left. This is very difficult to do in any sort of first-person shooter, and I feel like that kind of agility and control would really give you a much better perception of your environment and just make a more immersive experience. Now there could be potentially other hardware involved in creating this sort of effect, but it's not to say that it isn't something that I'm sure eventually will become an aspect of first-person shooters someday. Now Microsoft also announced having a 300,000 server network around the world to enhance the speed and accessibility of the network, and that includes like game distribution and game playing and all that kind of thing. It'll be curious to see how this factors into perhaps servers finding local servers that are faster, or just getting content faster, and trying to see how much of the game can actually be cloud storage versus hard drive storage. Now, along with this Xbox One announcement, DICE has also announced that they're going to be showing Battlefield 4 multiplayer on June 10th, and they're going to be discussing the Star Wars game that they're developing. These things are going to be big news. I cannot tell you how excited I am for June 10th, and as we all know, E3 is starting on the 11th and is continuing on through the 13th, something that I am now confirmed going to. I got my media pass confirmation email, so I'm going to be going to the event. There's a lot of other big YouTubers that are going there. I'm looking forward to meeting them all, meeting up with the devs, hanging out, getting all our Battlefield 4 questions answered, or at least a lot of them answered, checking out that multiplayer, and hopefully getting as much hands-on time as possible. And in the same light, I'm looking forward to meeting anybody who is a subscriber and or fan of my channel there. Looking forward to just meeting and greeting people. And at the same time, I would like to take this time to ask you guys what questions you might want me to ask the devs while I'm there. I've certainly got a huge list of things that I want to go over and or suggest to the devs about features I would like to see. But if you guys have any pressing features or questions, I'd love to hear about them in the comments section. And remember to rate up other people's features and comments and stuff, so I have a good idea of what the community really wants to know, because it surprises me sometimes when there's something that's really strongly felt among the community that just doesn't have any really avenue of getting directly to the devs. I mean, sometimes it's heard by people at EA or DICE and then it's never conveyed over to the key people, and this might be a really good opportunity to get some of our voices heard, some of our messages through. And in addition to DICE demonstrating the multiplayer gameplay on the 10th, they've also officially this time announced that the release date is October 29th. We've already speculated and it's already kind of been leaked a bit before this, but now it's official. Battlefield 4 is coming out on October 29th for the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3, so we've got some older systems. I don't believe they're going to support 64-player multiplayer, but they're also coming out on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So, and PC, of course. And so what that means is that, well, I believe we can all expect to be owning Xbox Ones and or PlayStation 4s before that time. So it would suggest that the release date for those consoles are going to be before Battlefield 4 comes out. Some of you might remember a while back there was some leaked marketing material called Drone Strike for Battlefield 4. This was the first DLC leaked imagery for Battlefield 4, and people were speculating what Drone Strike would mean. Well, it's actually been changed, at least we believe it's been changed, to China Rising as being the new name of that DLC, and it's going to take place in China on 4 Chinese maps across the mainland, and it's going to use a lot of really interesting high-tech military equipment. So it's safe to say that a lot of that could be drones. Anyway, this wraps it up for the big Xbox One reveal, what it could potentially mean for first-person shooter gaming, and some of the Battlefield 4 news that came along with that, some of the new expansion stuff, and I cannot wait to see that multiplayer reveal. That is going to be a really big moment for Battlefield fans everywhere. Remember to leave me the comments and or suggestions that you have for the devs down below that you'd like me to ask them at E3. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.